Welcome to the Civic Repertory Theater. Isn't she just a marvelous old theater? The dear old Civic Rep. It's so wonderful to be back in New York, back with all of you. I had a lovely sabbatical year, and now I am refreshed and ready to reopen the theater. And I thought, what better place to hold the press conference to announce the 1932 season? And I am not just speaking to you as the producer, Ava Le Galliene. I am speaking for all the actors and designers and directors at the Civic when I thank you for your generous support of our work over the last 5 seasons. You've been a big part of our success, and so I hope you will be as excited as we are about the shows we have lined up for opening our new season. But first, I have to ask a favor of you, and I know that you will respect this request because it is due to recent personal circumstances. Please, no pictures today. Absolutely no pictures at all. No, not even just one. No, please put your cameras away. Please. Thank you. I knew that you would understand. Thank you. You're wonderful. What? I am. Oh, you're too kind. What? Absolutely. The question was, will we continue to produce repertory? Yes, a new play every 2 weeks, 10 shows a season. And I promise you, you have my word as producer, that we will never perform the same play more than 4 times a week. Tell your readers if they don't like the play on Thursday, they can come back on Monday and see something completely different for the price of a movie. What? No. The fire. He asked about the fire. I have no comment to make. It was a year ago, and I think everyone has read quite enough about it. I understand it made headlines around the world, including reports of my death that have been greatly exaggerated. Don't print that, it's Mark Twain. But actually, there is something I would like to say about the fire. There is an urgent need for federal legislation that mandates the addition of chemicals to propane gas that will give it a distinguishing odor. Too many people are injured or killed every year because they are unable to detect a leak or a buildup of the gas until it is too late. Your readers can let their representatives know that this regulation must be passed, and passed now, before any more lives are lost. Now, can we finally get to the reason for this press conference? Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, the 1932 season at the Civic Repertory. Something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. We are going to lead off with the Something Old, a revival of my first Broadway hit, Le Lion, 10 years ago. And I am delighted to announce that we will be bringing back my former leading man and dear friend, the talented Jack Schildkraut. No! No pictures! I said no pictures! What is wrong with you? You don't know what that flashbulb, that light, that sound does to me. I had my hands nearly burned off in an explosion. I am really quite sick. Where were we? Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Something old. Le Lion with Joseph Schildkraut. He will be joining us for the entire season. Something new. Dear Jane, a new play about Jane Austen. Miss Hutchinson will be taking on the role of the famous author, and I will be playing her sister, Cassandra. Something borrowed from Shakespeare. That will be a play, a verse drama about Lady Macbeth when she was a young girl. What are you staring at? You're looking at my hands, aren't you? Miss Le Galliene is wearing a pair of Chanel gauntlet gloves from Paris. The gloves are top suede, with scalloped edging, featuring a fold-up option. Miss Le Galliene is wearing the cuffs down. Something old, something new, something borrowed. Yes, our third play, the verse drama. Who was Lady Macbeth? That is the question. Who was she before she became the woman whose bloody hands can never be clean again? I paint my hands for the stage with tempera. I contour them by painting in shadows and highlights. It takes a half an hour. I glue a fingernail on the second joint of this finger. The third joint was completely destroyed, and then I choreograph the play. I plot out every single movement, every position for each hand, for each finger, for every single minute of the play. I rehearse my hands as if they were little dancers. 10 little dancers. This is so that their disfigurement will not distract the audience. If everybody minded their own business, the world would go around a great deal faster than it does. Do you know who said that? The Duchess. The Duchess in Alice in Wonderland. And that will be our fourth play. Something blue, like Alice's dress. Josephine Hutchinson will be playing Alice. Jo, of course, is the actress who has been by my side night and day for 4 years. But you knew that. I'm surprised you haven't asked me about the divorce. You all ran stories on her husband's trip to Reno last year. Jo was at the top of the stairs. She was standing just above me when I struck the match. Here's a riddle for you. Who said it's no use going back to yesterday because I was a different person then? Alice says it to the mock turtle. What? Why should we postpone the press conference? What? If I am having difficulty, it is because you keep interrupting me. But I understand why you're doing it. You are reporters. This is your job, to get the story. And it has become clear to me that the only way I'm going to get through this is to give it to you. We were at my home in Connecticut, Josephine and I. We had just closed our 5th season, and I had announced that I would be taking a year off to travel, to come back with new ideas. It was a beautiful day in June, warm, sunny, and I was pruning the rose bushes. Because of the thorns, I was wearing a long-sleeve flannel shirt and a pair of workman's overalls. I was completely covered, except my hands. I remember the caretaker was calling me. She wanted to wash her dog, but she was having difficulty getting the hot water heater to light in her cottage. I told her I would be down when I finished with the roses, which was about a half hour later. That was a half hour for the gas to build up because she had left the valve open. She didn't realize, of course. None of us did. Well, I finished with the roses and walked to the top of the basement stairs. I put a cigarette in my mouth. Jo was behind me. On the way down the stairs, I reached out and struck the match against the basement wall. There was a tremendous roar as the entire basement erupted. The air itself was on fire everywhere. I covered my face with my hands and ran back up the stairs. Jo was ahead of me at the top. She was burned from the heat, but she was not on fire. I was on fire. My hair was in flames. I ran to the sink in the kitchen to put them out. And then I saw that my clothes were burning. And I ran out to the yard, tearing them off as I ran and rolling on the ground. And that was when I saw my hands. The skin was hanging off them in great bloody strips. The pain was so extreme. I felt them separate from my body. And then I blacked out. My hands had covered my face, my eyes, my nose, my mouth. They saved my sight. They saved my lungs. They saved my looks, my life, my career. But they couldn't. I came here today to share my art with you. But you want something else. You want to see my hands, don't you? Shall I take off my gloves? Don't be silly. Of course you want to see them. Everybody wants to see them. Everybody wants to see my scars. What you have to understand is that they weren't hands anymore. When they unwrapped the bandages, they were just these two masses of flesh, swollen so much they were utterly shapeless. Not even a hint of fingers. They had no apparent bone structure at all. The doctor had to come every day and whittle them down, picking away at the dead tissue where the fingers were all webbed together like a duck's foot. He couldn't use an anesthetic because he needed to know where there was still nerve supply. I had to sleep at night with splints on my fingers. Endless surgeries, grafting skin, reattaching ligaments. I am telling you this so that you will understand what you are looking at. My hands may appear grotesque or pathetic, but you must remember what they have been through. It is not fair to judge them by some standard of beauty that was left behind in the ashes of that basement. You must judge them as you would a soldier, one who has sacrificed his life to save his company. You must. What? I am announcing the season. Thank you. No pictures. No pictures, please.